What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well with things that are currently going on. Hope you're being safe. I created a playlist this past week. It is called Heavier Music for Newer Ears. It's on Spotify. Link will be in the description below. And it's designed to help get people that aren't necessarily familiar with metal and all of its intricacies into the style and help them find their footing a little bit, help them find some tracks they can grasp onto. I created this specifically for a very good friend of mine who's a fantastic vocalist in his own right. He's just got this silky, gorgeous, pure tone to his voice. And he's very big into ska and pop punk and country and some alt rock. He's a big Chili Peppers fan and a lot of that stuff. But he was telling me it's been hard for him to get into metal. And I should create a playlist. All right, awesome. Outstanding. Challenge accepted, ladies and gentlemen. And the initial playlist, the first 9 tracks, I just added a couple more for you guys before I started shooting the video. I've been listening to you for the past several days, and I really, really enjoy it. And I figured I would share it with you. And if you enjoy it as much as I do, and somebody says, "Hey, give me something to get into metal," maybe you have a starting point. And I think that's always really important. I think a lot of people, when they try to get people into metal, will start throwing heavier stuff at them. And I've never found I always found that's just not the best way to do it. You want to try to work them in with different tracks and give them different looks and different ideas, and typically start with stuff that's a bit more melodic, that's not as incredibly heavy and full of blast beats and tons of aggression. So we're going to talk about the playlist, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Link will be in the description down below. There's a lot of bands here that I could have gone so many different ways with, and I waffle back and forth on. I'm very particular when it comes to playlists. I truly do build it track by track. I might have an idea or a framework in mind, but it truly, where I go with the next track always depends on the feel of the previous track and how it works together inside the framework. I do try to set things up in 4-song themes, and you'll certainly notice that here. The last 4 tracks, I will certainly say right off the bat, were difficult to put together because of the singers involved. So check that out here. So, Iced Earth, the opener. Iced Earth, Burning Times, the very first track off of the fantastic Something Wicked This Way Comes record from 1998. Matt Barlow, arguably most people's favorite Iced Earth singer. Not going to get into that debate. I like everybody from Barlow on up. I wasn't a fan of the original 2 singers. Personal preference. But Matt's an amazing singer, and Burning Times is one of my favorite openers from an Iced Earth record. It's always hard to go wrong opening a playlist with an opener because it's placed in that position for a reason. Got some really great riffs. Got some cool harmony lines to it. It's melodically interesting. There's a fantastic powerhouse vocalist. And it's got a catchy chorus. And I think finding those places to go and get people sucked in is really, really important. So that opens the record. There's so many different ways I could have gone there. I could have gone with a couple of different tracks in different places. I could have gone with Melancholy at some point, and I probably will at some point put that on there. Could have gone with Watching Over Me. I could have gone with Consequences, but it would have set the tone differently because I wouldn't have used Iced Earth as the opening track. I would have wanted to put that more of that track 4 thrash album ballad slot, you know? I think this is an excellent opener, and it really helped build the playlist for me. The next track is a lesser-known band from Sweden. They're called Denied. They're from Stockholm, and the Let Them Burn record is a personal favorite. The second track on the record, Dead Messiah, is what makes my track 2 here, and I love them. I think this record is outstanding, as well as the standalone track 3 Degrees of Evil. And it's just got great riffs. It's melodic. It has some fantastic lead work throughout the record and these big melodic lead lines as well. And it features the fantastic Johan Falberg on vocals from Jaded Heart. I think he's got a great voice. I think that chorus is massive. And it's one that I go back to frequently. I just love the track, and I feel like it's incredibly catchy. Track 3. Oh, Mercenary, the title track from the 11 Dreams record, 11 Dreams. I love Mercenary. I love this record. It's truly a record that has made me look at music differently. This record has fantastic vocals from both Nickel and Crawl. It's got powerful lyrics that it can go into, that can be looked at in different ways. I've had a chance to actually talk to Crawl about the lyrics a little bit, which is an honor in of itself. But it's brilliantly composed. It's a little bit longer. It has fantastic melody throughout it. It has beautiful piano pieces along with big, powerful vocals, really catchy melodies, and very interesting parts compositionally. It's simple yet complex. It's dynamic. It's beautiful. It flows so well together. And I feel like it's one of the places in the playlist that just rolls through so very well. You guys have been following me recently. You know I have a massive soft spot for Evergrey, and this is another place, along with Mercenary and along with Iced Earth, that could very easily have gone so many different ways. There's so many fantastic tracks from this band. There's so many tracks from different albums that I absolutely adore. But coming off of 11 Dreams, going into that track 4 ballad slot, I wanted a ballad. I wanted something heavier, and I wanted something that was going to use a bit of the extended range so I could transition off that into more extended range stuff. So, done a video on it. Matter of fact, you're going to see 2 tracks that came up from the same video together in this playlist. One is All I Have from Evergrey. It sits in track 4. In that slot, and it is just one of my favorite ballads from the band, and it transitions really well into track 5, which starts a different thread from playlist, and it's one of the tracks that's a little heavier in some ways. Another band that you just could have gone so many directions, and there's so many more tracks from these guys that I want to put on there, and that is Nevermore. I love Nevermore. Warrell Dane was one of the most unique and incredible vocalists I've ever heard in my life. Had a fantastic rhythm section with Shepard and oh man, I'm going to completely Van Williams on drums. I almost spaced on his name and I would have been very upset at myself. And the absolutely incredible riff and lead machine, Jeff Loomis. And there's so many different tracks I could have gone with here. I went with a deeper cut off of the Godless Endeavor record. I went with My Acid Words because it's melodic. It has heavier parts. It has some really cool diminished minor stuff going on compositionally. Big vocals. Some really cool gallops. Great double bass. Fantastic solos. Really gorgeous vocal harmonies, and it's just an amazing track, and one that I think that gets overlooked even on that record, because that record is chock full of amazing stuff. It might actually be my favorite record from them, which is incredibly hard because their stuff is just incredible, and Dead Heart in a Dead World is an absolute masterstroke of a record of its own right. Again, lots of different ways I could have gone here. Could have gone heavier. I could have gone lighter. I could have gone with the big ones like Believe in Nothing or Heart Collector or Dead Heart or Narcosynthesis or Sell My Heart for Stones. There's a lot of fantastic tracks by this band, and I'm sure as things develop, I'll probably start sticking more bands back in. The transition out of that track, massive thanks to Parker Busow for bringing this band back into the ideas for me, is Lacuna Coil. It's the track Tightrope off of Coma Lies. Easily my favorite Lacuna Coil record. I think it's just a masterstroke of a record all the way around. Tightrope has some great synth lines to it. It's got some heavier parts, some cool double bass patterns, and it really allowed me to transition off of a band like Nevermore, which is kind of difficult to do, and allow me to go into a different direction. Love the track. I think it's fantastic. I thought I kind of wrote myself into a corner with it by putting it where I did, until I went back to another one of my favorite bands. And this is another band where I could have gone in so many different directions with so many different records, and that's Soilwork. I adore Soilwork. I think they're a fantastic band, and for so many reasons. Track that we're using on this playlist is the second track off of the utterly amazing, utterly fantastic Natural Born Chaos record, which really broke that band open and really showed them changing their style. It's As We Speak. It's one of the only tracks in the record that really has a lot more aggressive vocals and growls currently on the playlist, but it has those big harmonies, that huge, almost soothing chorus, and I adore the track. I think it was a fantastic track off of the record, and it really fits the playlist, and it transitions so well on the playlist, at least in my opinion, to more of the emotional tracks that I was kind of diving into, that sets up the back half of the playlist as it currently stands. I never expected to pull this off, but of course I had to go with it. It's certainly the odd man out, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way at all. This is my favorite Duran Gray track that I've ever heard, and I slotted in Aka because I love the track. I think it's amazing. It fits incredibly well, musically transitioning off of As We Speak, and it opens up that incredibly emotional aspect and really dials into that. It's just a fantastic ballad. It's gorgeous. The vocals, the guitar textures, the drum and the bass work, those little tremolo picked riffs they use, those atmospheric, those big usages of reverb and delay, and the pedals that they use. It's an amazing track. It's an amazing composition by the band as a whole. It has some of my favorite vocals from Kyo on the record, and it transitioned into a track I never ever thought I would pair with Duran Gray, because they're different. Massive thanks to Scott for bringing these guys to my attention once again. I didn't realize they'd had an album out, and they came out, and I did the video on the channel, and I got some wonderful feedback from the band. I think they're an amazing band. I've been a fan of them for a long time, but I lost track of them. And they released the album Marrow in 2018. That band is Matter Mortem, and I love them. They're like this gorgeous, heavier, progressive band, very 70s influenced in some ways. And Agnet is just one of the most amazing vocalists I've heard, male or female. She has such almost a 70s quality to her in some ways. Big, powerful, emotional, expressive vocals. And the shifts and tempo changes and the emotional battering of the different passages of Until You Return, from soothing to just hammering me emotionally. Oh, it's glorious in so many ways, and I love it. And I didn't really know what I was going to do after that track until I decided to shoot this video. So it's so hard for me, in a way, to work in powerful female vocals in a record or in a playlist, because you get some of these vocalists and they just have massive, massive voices. How do you follow them with anything less than another massive voice? That was a big challenge. So had to go grab a band that's incredibly dear to my heart and one of their more swaggery moving tracks off the record. That's Portugal's Blame Zeus. The track is Obsession Lullaby. It comes off last year's Seethe record. And it's just got this movement, this swagger to it, this attitude, this cockiness, and I love it. And it fits really well inside the framework of the playlist and allows me to tie in some of the other really big female vocalists that I want to put on here, because it's so challenging to follow such big voices. Saunder's an amazing vocalist. The band is incredibly talented. Can't say enough good things about them. I'm honored to continue to talk to them and have a great relationship with them. And that track sits at track 10. Track 11 is one that a lot of you guys probably haven't heard. It's a band called System Divide. It was formed when the singer for Aborted married Mari from, what was the band she was in? She from Distorted, and they did a record together. And unfortunately, that things didn't quite work out on a personal level, but they gave us an absolutely fantastic record. And the challenge here was, how do I give something that's a bit more aggressive, that's heavy without dragging in the dual male-female aggressive vocals that tend to be really consistent on the record, which is the Conscious Sedition, released in 2010. So I went with Hollow. It's heavy. It has a very modern edge to it, but it only features the melodic vocals from Mari, who's an amazing singer in her own right. Really enjoy her voice, and it allowed me to slot in one of my favorite female vocalists. Forget male or female. Forget gender or sex here. Favorite vocalist, but somebody that has an incredibly powerful, bombastic voice, and that is Flora Jansen from After Forever and the Ari and Luke Costin stuff like Arian and Star One. She also has Revamp. Of course, she's been the singer of Nightwish for several years now. An absolutely incredible singer, massive range. And I went with Cry With a Smile off of After Forever's self-titled, because I love that track. I think it's a beautiful ballad, and it will allow me to go in that direction a little bit more as I continue to flesh this playlist out. It's certainly going to set up a track from Ex Libris and the utterly amazing Diane Van Gerschen, because I don't know how to follow other big voice singers other than using an incredibly big voiced singer. And well, if you're going to go with Fleur, you're going to have to go with Diane or another one of those amazing singers afterwards. I might consult the brain that is Scott longtime Patreon, great dude, really appreciate you, to see where I go from there on that. But that's where we stand. That's the big explanation of why. I hope it gives people a really strong palette and varied palette of heavier stuff to listen to, and gives you a good starting point. 12 tracks. I think they flow really, really well together. I'm incredibly proud of how it works so far. I'm really curious to hear your opinions of it. So let me know in the comments. What do you think I should add? Where do I take it from here? And do you think it'll help some people out? Let me know. Really appreciate all of you. I hope you enjoy this as much as I enjoy putting stuff like this together for you. Thanks, guys. I love you. Massive thank you to all of my Patreons. You're amazing, and I love you. Massive thanks to everybody who follows this channel and has been here for so many years now. I can't believe we're coming on 3. It's incredible. Massive thank you to my law enforcement, military veterans, and first responders for what you guys and gals do all over the world. You guys have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other and keep headbanging.